Okay, it's 6 p.m. Let's go ahead and get the meeting going. If we could stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Have all the board members had an opportunity to read the agenda? Okay, with no additions or deletions to the agenda, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda for this evening, March 28th.
And I'll second that.
Okay, with a motion and a second, do we all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and the agenda is approved. We'll move on now to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Vice President Wheelander, other board directors, our student representatives, family members, community members, students, and staff. As we continue to support our strategic plan that really drives our day-to-day activities, we've had a number of things going on the last couple of weeks, including today. We were in Tacoma. It's the largest job fair for teachers. And so there was quite a healthy bunch, more than I've seen in a long time. So it was really nice. At our particular booth, we were there talking with mostly new graduates or to-be graduates in their teacher ed program. And there was a lot of questions. And I have to say there was a lot of interest in the Shelton School District. There was a lot. Just in comparison to a lot of the other school districts, most school districts in the state are actually there at this particular event. And it was really nice to talk with them and what their interests are and to share what we have going on here for our school district. So it was a really nice event. The hope is to hopefully get them to a interview or a second interview. We've interviewed a number of folks, including myself, so that we can get them on board early. It's again part of our effective teachers and leaders within our strategic plan. So that's the outcome that we are seeking out of that event. So we will be following up with folks starting tomorrow and probably bringing some folks on site in the next couple of weeks to meet with the teacher teams and principal for some of our school positions. Last week I was at an event sponsored by Mason County Health. It was a really good event. They shared some statistics specific to Mason County. Had an opportunity to talk with a number of health experts and providers here in Mason County in the South Puget Sound area. I think there was some really good connections. We've been working all school year on providing better mental health support. And so how do we coordinate supports for our students and our families, as well as some more education on substance abuse. And so that's been another topic that we had. And we had a training actually last week at Shelton High School that some folks in the room were providing. So it was really good to connect with them and talk about some further things that we could do next year to further expand on that, along with mental health. Literally today, in the next couple of days, we're having sponsored lab sites, which is really an opportunity for teachers to see other teachers teach. It's really nice to get back to this model coming off the pandemic, see them with some of the literacy moves that we're trying to sponsor as a district, that we support the love of literacy as well as the technical literacy skills so that we have readers and writers here in the Shelton School District. So that's some of the things that we're doing on our strategic plan. And then as always, I just wanted to really highlight, we are continuing to look for bus drivers. So if you are interested in being a substitute bus driver, we have positions available to you. We do provide paid training for the position. If you are not interested, but you might know somebody who might be, please just have them simply contact the main number. We will immediately know where to direct them and can provide all sorts of information for them. So we will continue to do that. I've had quite a lot of recent correspondence on bus drivers. We do have all of our permanent positions filled. We are looking for substitutes because we do have bus drivers who are out. And then when we don't have the sub, that is really where some of our pain points are. There is a bus driver shortage, not only for us the region, the state, but also the nation. So bus drivers are in plentiful demand. So we will continue to recruit that and look to resolve that issue as we look far and wide and continue to find folks who are interested in driving bus here for not only us, but those other in the Mason County Consortium. So with that, those are conclude my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to community comments, and let me read the little blurb before we do that. As part of the regular school board meeting, the board invites community members to make public comment in person or by phone as conditions allow. If speaking in person, please follow the public comment procedure by signing in, stating your name and address at the podium when called by the board chair. If making comments by phone, please dial 1-253-215-8782 and enter meeting ID number 872-5618-1978. Each person is allowed 3 minutes to speak. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, the board will not be allowed to discuss items that are not on the agenda. The board will direct the superintendent to follow up on any items that arise during public comment as appropriate. The board will not allow complaints against an individual staff member or student in open session unless that individual has requested an open public hearing. And we will start off with Anne Marie Nakla.
Okay. My name is Anne Marie Nakla. I am from 504 Terrace Boulevard. Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you also for serving on this board in this community. I really appreciate that. We have been in this community for 20 years, nearly, probably 19, and have 6 kids that have passed through the Shelton School District. So I appreciate what you have done to bring education and opportunities here in the school district. I wanted to tell you what brings me here tonight. One of the things coming out of COVID has been that the performing arts were shut down and especially hard hit during the COVID time. Just to refresh you, and I think all of you received a communication that I sent on email, so I won't recap that. But during COVID, all of the performing arts were abruptly shut down. There was no, they were stopped and band, choir, theater, and stagecraft had no classes in person 6 to 18 months, March to September 2021. Music instruction was severely hampered by COVID protocols, including distance learning, hybrid learning, masking, and quarantining. There is no music instruction for kids kindergarten through 8th grade for 18 months. Zoom instruction was completely ineffectual for music. Hybrid instruction was worthless with music ensembles. And then masks were in place from March 2021 to March 2022. You are well aware of the social effects of COVID that students faced, including disengagement, isolation, anxiety, and mental health issues. When students returned, they were scared, alienated, trying hard to reacclimatize. Taking risks and building confidence is part of the performing arts. These programs will take several years to rebuild the momentum lost. At the same time, these classes offer those very skills that are so badly needed, those the communicating in person, building confidence, developing community. So I just want to share with you what our performing arts do for kids and why we need to celebrate them. We had a meeting last week when the proposed master schedule came out. It was rather alarming regarding the performing arts. For the first time since we've been in the district, it showed that there were only 3 proposed theater classes on the day. 5 out of the 12 choir classes that are usually on the day were off.
Thank you. Sorry. Amika Nakla.
My name's Amika Nakla, and I live at 504 Terrace Boulevard, and I would like to give my 3 minutes to my mom.
Okay.
So anyway, the performing arts are really struggling to recover in a post-COVID era. But I wanted to celebrate and emphasize what the performing arts are doing for our students. They inspire people, they bring people together. There is noted research that they improve kids' reading and math skills. They improve their SAT skills. One thing that they bring that athletics do not bring is that they're collaborative rather than competitive. They keep kids coming to school where academics don't. They open kids' worldviews. They're relatively low cost compared with athletic programs. Almost in the 20 years Paul's been teaching, almost every year between choir and band, they have at least one valedictorian in their program. So there have been a lot of recent hurdles to building music and academic performing arts, theater, stagecraft, band, and choir. They're substantial. They're unintended. I would wager a guess that they're the unintended consequences of a host of policies that are perhaps not targeted, but a net result of just neglect, administrative neglect, for lack of a better term. I've had the opportunity to sit down both with the superintendent and the principal of the high school yesterday. I think we had some fruitful talks that I hope would be the beginning of what I would hope, but I would ask very stridently that this be made an agenda item, because these programs are ultra valuable. They will go away unless they're given absolute precedence, and they need that opportunity to rebuild. Just to give you some ideas, there's been no ensemble music at OMS. That's been one thing that's been cut. There's been this change to the trimester system and many others. But I think with some attention, with some focus, we can rebuild these programs. And I think we can collaborate together because they're too important to go away. So I would ask this board to make it an agenda item, to invite all of your performing arts faculty to sit down, ask them, because they have specific strategic needs that you can address. It's not that their programs are sunk. They have a whole host of students that love and can speak to their value. And these things matter to the community, to your students, but they need active support and attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marcia Heckman?
Marcia Hellman,
Oh.
551 East Snowy Owl Drive. So as I'd like to address the cuts to the performing arts as well. As a single mom, I moved to Shelton from Las Vegas in 2012. I may have wondered at the time if this comparatively smaller town may or could offer my daughter the rich education that I so wanted for her. If she could have the same opportunities that she would have had we not moved here. I also wanted her to feel welcomed and at home right away. Fortunately, she found the choir department and my fears were gone. Mr. Nakla's choir room was a place of refuge and acceptance. She excelled in voice and performing arts. Much like sports, participating in choir and band helps students in the area of the academics, self-esteem, mental health, and it teaches responsibility, teamwork, and problem solving. Carly, my daughter, graduated as co-valedictorian in 2014. She was awarded a full tuition scholarship from Pacific Lutheran University. Because of her experience and training with Mr. Nakla, she had the confidence and courage to audition for PLU's highly esteemed choirs. With them, she was able to perform with a renowned opera singer for a Christmas concert that has been televised on PBS. She graduated with a degree in physics and worked for Lockheed Martin as an engineer. I credit all of Shelton High's teachers. However, in choir is where Carly literally found her voice. Not all of us are athletes. Not all of us can sing or play an instrument, but no one can downplay the importance of music. Music is the universal language of mankind, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote. And in this crazy world we now find ourselves in, what could be more important than something that unites everyone? I see a much bigger and more impressive looking high school campus today than what was here in 2012. I know programs have been added and administrators do their best to offer their students as much as they can. I'm sure that sometimes when things are added, other things need to be cut. I strongly urge you, however, not to underestimate what choir and band means to students, how it grows, refines, and matures them, how it teaches them math, history, culture, what it means to be human, what it teaches us about our intrinsic value, divine nature, and our master designer. Therefore, I ask you not to cut something as vastly important as Shelton High School's music programs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sophia Nakla.
Good to go?
Hi, my name's Sophia Nakla and I live at 504 Terrace Boulevard. As I said, my name's Sophia. I am a sophomore at high school at SHS. I came last year from a very small school and I was scared. I didn't know anybody and I was scared of everybody. And, but I found the choir program and it gave me a reason to come to school every day. And it helped me find friends and people that I got along with and people that were really nice. And I specifically loved my 8-voice jazz choir, Illusions. There was 8 of us in there, but we had a really big sound, and it was such a great environment for me as a new kid to come and meet people in a smaller setting like that. So that helped me grow, and so now I can step into more of a leadership role in the choir programs this year. This upcoming year, it looks like there could be a possibility of losing that amazing small choir we have and losing some of our other programs, like our one of our jazz, one of our bands, and I would love to keep those because those are the reason that I come to school. And I'm pretty sure almost every kid in the choirs would say the same, as well as the band and theater. It's been really hard for our program since COVID. Everything got shut down. Everyone was on their own, trying to figure out things on their own. This is really a great way for us to come back out of our shells. It's it's bringing kids in who are new and making them excited about something, giving them a drive. And so I would just ask your support and your help in giving these programs time to grow, because we do need time to get back on our feet, but they really are going on an upward swing. And if we are given that time, then I think we could really do a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna Lilas? Was I close?
Hi guys, my name is Anna Lilgis and I live at 1300 E Mason Lake Drive West out in Grapeview. So I had a choice when it came to the high school. I could have gone to North Mason or I could have gone to Shelton High School. I walked into the Performing Arts Center at North Mason and I turned around. It was 3 steps to the stage from the back of the room. I said, there's no way I want to go to Shelton. So I have a degree in music, I have a degree in business, and I have a master's in business. I work in finance. But let me tell you, I learned more about public speaking, interviewing, correct posture, how to conduct myself, how to speak to people in the 3 years at Shelton High School than I did in any business class or any finance class. The only time in my education I had the opportunity to be in front of a microphone was in illusions. That's what Sophia was just talking about. They gave us a microphone and had us sing on stage. You want to talk about, oh, the group really blends the voice. Nope, it's all you. That's the only time I was ever given a microphone to learn how to present. And it was in choir. So my job, I get to talk in front of people, whether it's 2 people or 300 people. And this is what we do. And I learned that from performing arts. So I was in chamber singers, illusions. I was in stagecraft class, and I took theater. I was in over 12 choral performances, 3 choral competitions, Night of Musical Theater for 3 years. I got to direct one of those. Theater performances, give my regards to Broadway, Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, Oklahoma, Little Women. I stage directed that one too. These are extremely unique opportunities that people don't get everywhere. We have an opportunity at Shelton that we're not seeing from kids from K through 5 anymore. We're not seeing in middle school, and it's not funneling into the high school. So we're chopping options that are the specialized choirs. It's the specialized band, and it is the advanced stagecraft class. These are the classes that kids are choosing to be a part of. They want to be here, and there are reasons for that. Removing the performing arts is a detriment to students because guess what? The skills you learn in performing arts bleeds into every area of your life. Every time I get up and stand in front of people, it's not because of a class I sat and took and listened to about how to be a good business kid. It was because I stood there in front of people and I got to perform over and over and over again. And guess what? I'm still shaking. I'm still nervous because these are important topics, and these are things you don't always get to do. The arts are imperative to this growing generation. You watch kids be stuck behind doors and classes because of COVID. And as Anne-Marie said, I urge you to reconsider cutting so many performing arts classes because they will make your generations better. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. We have Katie Davis.
Hi, my name is Katie Davis. I live at 320 Eastwood Lane, Shelton, Washington. This year, I'm a senior. I've been going to Shelton High School all 4 years, and I've been in choir, I think, starting in 4th grade and on and off for a couple years, but strongly, especially in Mr. Knockla's choir since 8th grade. And I am currently in both Illusions and Chamber Singers, and I am also the co-president of choir this year, and the other co-president is also here tonight. And I can't speak to the logistics of how classes are chosen or how the registration process happens. I have no idea how any of that works, but all I can really say is from what I see just every day in kids in other classes outside of choir, band, and theater, most kids just do not want to be there. And I feel like it's even more than just your usual teen stuff. Like there's just this apathy towards any sort of structure, any sort of just listening to a teacher that's makes learning so hard. And I think it really discourages other kids to even come to school. I mean, I have friends outside of choir who are risking not graduating because they just haven't been coming to school because they don't see a point. And what I see in choir that I don't see in any of the other classes that I'm a part of is kids consistently showing up and kids wanting to be there because they chose that class. And choir is that community that just way more kids than you would think really want to be a part of. And even when you look at like seeing kids outside of choir who would never think that they would want to be singing, that don't like singing at all, they come into choir and they learn so many other skills like public speaking, because you have to be out there on that stage with people to perform. You really have to learn to work with the group and be able to talk to people. How I think a lot of kids honestly just do not know how to talk to other people because of COVID and because of how online most communication is now. And I just truly think that cutting choir classes is going to be overall just detrimental to the goal that I think not just the board, but teachers and any administrator in school, probably across the country, is wanting to get from kids, which is more interaction and more engagement, and kids wanting to be at school, which is obviously school is so important. And the more people drop out and the more people stop showing up to class, I think just the worse things will be. And choir is just so important and also band and theater and stagecraft, even though I am not a part of those. I know they function the same. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And Andrew Wilford, please.
Hello, I am Andrew Wilford. I live at 509 Grant Avenue. I didn't know this topic was coming up today. I just want to throw my support behind them as well. The performing arts are certainly valuable here in Shelton School District, and I would love to see that maintained here at where they are or even improved. Now, last time I spoke here, I was picking on Bordeaux, and today I'm kind of pick up right where I left off. The little boy that I talked about the incident before, I didn't mention why it became personal to me. He actually just lives down the street. He and my son are friends. He's been in my house tons of times. Kids play all the time. Thankfully, he's okay. His parents are still dissatisfied with the response that they've gotten with the incident. And then since then, I've spoken with the soccer mom. Now my kids are in spring soccer, and her little girl who goes to Evergreen has been threatened twice now on a school bus. And again, seems like there's no response to that little boy that threatens, continues to ride the school bus unimpeded. There needs to be more accountability here. I know we can't divulge details to other parents about other people's kids, but when the child continues to go to school or ride the bus the very next day, and the day after and the day after, and these actions continue, we know there's not being any consequences rendered to these kids. Now, since then, I had an opportunity to talk to the school district's very first school resource officer. He started in the late 90s, and I told him the story about Bordeaux, and he asked me, well, where do you think I spent most of my time as a school resource officer? And I said, well, I imagine Shelton High School and Choice, because that's where all the older kids are. Sure, is where most of the fights are. And he said, no, I spent most of my time at Bordeaux. So 20 years now, it's been over 20 years. There's been some issues at Bordeaux, and I don't know what the cause is. I really have no clue. We've been through whole different sets of staff since then, several principals. I can't imagine there's very many teachers left from that time, but something's got to change there at Bordeaux, and I don't know what it is. Now, I'm going to run out of time real fast. I got a tip from a Bordeaux staff member about political messaging being all over inside Bordeaux, and I would love to go and check that out myself, but parents and public are not allowed in Bordeaux still. That needs to change. We need to open our schools back up to our parents. Parents need to be able to go in there and talk to these teachers as they need to in the mornings before school and after school. COVID is done. That we need to open these schools back up. It is not a school policy as far as I know. That was a decision given to and made by the teachers leadership group at Bordeaux to keep parents continually out of school still. Please open these schools back up. Let these parents back in here. Thank you.
Thank you. John Rance.
Well, I'm sorry to say I don't live in the Shelton School District anymore. I live in Tumwater, 3303 68th Avenue. This is my 29th year teaching, 6 years here to celebrate in Shelton. I love it here. I am the high school band director or instrumental music, because I also teach guitar, but I'm also the Shelton School District Arts and Global Language Lead. So part of what I've been doing lately is taking a look at what we can celebrate and how we can celebrate, because after COVID, I mean, what we had before COVID was fantastic. We had shows, we're talking professional shows in our auditorium, and things we had world drumming in our elementary schools. We had choirs in our elementary schools. We had general music, so they were learning it all. We had celebrated over 170 kids in beginning band at Olympic Middle School. And that's something else. Our choir program, which we've heard a lot about tonight already, had about 160, 170 annually. They were going off to the large group festival, which is something that the bands in high school and middle school do, the bands and choir. We are part of the Chinook Music Educators Association. And that group has regional festivals where we can take our ensembles and have adjudicators listen to us and then give us feedback on what we can do better or how well we rate. One is superior, two is as excellent, and it goes all the way down to 5. Traditionally, our bands prior to COVID were always getting 1s, sometimes 2s, and our choirs as well, 1s and 2s. So we're talking as good as the music can get. And that we're not talking for a high school group, we're talking as good as the music can get. So that's a lot to celebrate. Then COVID hit. We had no music under 9th grade. And we start to build it back up. Now we are celebrating and having world drumming again back in our elementary schools. We have ukulele classes in our elementary schools. We have choirs back in our elementary schools. Olympic Middle School now has got an after school and a pull out during homeroom for choir and band. It's not ideal yet because we don't have the kids like we do in every other school district coming out as a regular period into their band class or into their choir class. So we are working that way. OBJ is celebrating strength and giving us new numbers and building programs as well. Unfortunately, we are right now in this school district where we're still beginning instrumental music and ensemble music for vocal in the 7th and 8th grade. So that means that when they get to the high school level, they've had 1 year of experience instead of the typical 3 or 4 that we would normally see. But we're celebrating successes. Okay, we are still putting on Knocked, and we are getting record.
Thank you. Renata Parker.
Hi, I'm Renata Parker. I live on 509 Cary Court here in Shelton. I have 2 children who have graduated from Shelton School District and one that is currently in Shelton right now. All of my children are required to take at least 1 year of some performing arts. And the reason why I've required them to do that is because it teaches them skills such as how you need to practice regularly to find positive results. Those are job skills. It also teaches them how to be in front of other people and just be who they are, be the best that they can be. But, you know, sometimes it's going to work out well and sometimes it won't. That's a confidence builder in just being able to try and be themselves. They also have to work as a team and have a group that depends on them. So these have been very important skills for all of them. All of my children can speak in front of other people, and a lot of that has to do with being part of performing arts. It is hard to have that opportunity in other areas. So I am concerned, and I really ask for your support to make performing arts, whether it's band, drama, or choir, and the other supporting things that support those, to make it available to students and not have the access to that be limited so that they run into scheduling issues or they don't have as many opportunities to explore what they want to be. My son, who is currently in high school right now, he is a kid who is very quiet during all the middle school time. He's not, you know, he was just very quiet. He wouldn't sing in church, even though I was haranguing him to participate, and he's standing next to me, not mouthing. And what do you know? All of a sudden this year, he decided to be in Night of Musical Theater, and now he has a part in the musical. And he has really bloomed in terms of his ability to talk, to work with other people, and his confidence level. So this is just something that is special, something that is of great value, and really teaches students a lot of skills like, Mr. Superintendent, being able to speak and give your update. Those are just such important skills to develop. And I feel like the performing arts really allows students to have that opportunity to develop that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Paul Nakla.
Good evening, and my name is Paul Nakla. I live at 504 Terrace Boulevard. I'm the choir director at Shelton High School. I want to thank you for hearing a little bit about the importance of the performing arts tonight, and to thank all those who shared tonight. And then I'd like to give the rest of my time to our curriculum lead for the arts, John Rance.
So we're celebrating our successes. We're back in the auditorium again, this time without masks, and it's fantastic. Last year, we even putting the musical back on Freaky Friday. And believe it or not, Friday the 13th was opening night, and our drama director came down with COVID. Okay, but we are back. And these plays that we put on, the musicals we put on, the not that we put on are collaborative. We're working together with the construction. We're working together with stagecraft. We got culinary. We've got all sorts of different departments across the school working in with us. Last year, the band wasn't at first ready to perform. We did not perform at any football games. And it wasn't until wintertime that we started performing once again, because our skill level just wasn't up, because we had students that had 1 year of education. By the end of the year, we were performing in parades. We were doing concerts. We took first place away from North Mason at our own Forest Festival parade right here. This year, we're back into parades, and we did the Auburn Veterans Day Parade. We are doing the Bremerton Armed Forces Day Parade in May, the Long Beach Parade, the Loyalty Parade in Long Beach, and also, once again, the Forest Festival Parade. Last year, when we did go to Husky Band Day, we had 9 of our alumni in the Husky Band that we played right alongside. They're coming from Shelton and playing in the band, going to college because of what music has done for them. So we're celebrating our successes. And by the way, on May 5th and May 6th, I hope you come out and see the musical, which is The Addams Family. So it's going to be fantastic. Our percussion class is doing fantastic. We got over 17 in our percussion, which is not just drumline, but they're also doing concert percussion and their own stuff, which is really cool stuff. Come out and see them. Like I said, we are back and having world drumming in our choirs in the elementary schools, or the elementary schools, and then choirs also. Our guitar classes are building, and we're celebrating successes. I'm hoping that we can get on the agenda to speak more to you in the next couple of weeks. So, because I've got some real intriguing information to give you about how the state's Smarter Balanced scores are affected by the kids in music. You'll be astounded by what you see. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that didn't make it onto the list? Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I'm calling in. Is there a little bit more time for a little blurb? Oh, hi.
Okay. Can we take the call in first, just because they're already talking? Yeah, go ahead and say your name and all that.
Awesome. Hi, my name is Joseph Stitzel. I live at 610 East Dartmoor Drive. Currently going to school at Pacific Lutheran University, studying musical theater. I just wanted to say a little blurb about how Shelton's art program has really changed my direction of my life. I didn't really know who I was until 10th grade when I did the Shrek the Musical. And I got on stage and I really sang my heart out. Not very well, but I did it anyway. And I think that the performing arts at Shelton is such a unique experience. I've seen several directors who just were amazing and could have offered so much to this that want to work so hard for the community, and students are so eager to learn. I have seen more student participation in theater at Shelton High School than I have at college, really. students who are eager to write, eager to perform, eager to learn more. And I just think prioritizing that learning for people who really want it is crucial. I went through COVID years. I know the problems that came with it and the trouble that was trying to learn and do art at that time. And I just, it'd be a shame to miss out on that because we're, the numbers are maybe falling off a little bit due to, kids just getting back into it. I know my sister wants to get into the theater, and I think that that is just such an important part of my life that can be spread to everyone who's interested, and fostering that growth is vital, especially in Shelton, where I think we really, really need it. That's all. Thank you so much. I appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else online? No? Okay. Ma'am, if you come back up. Thank you for your patience. Sorry about that.
My name is Laurelyn Rogers, and I live on Wyandotte. And I wrote all of you about my personal experience of being part of a band. My son was part of a band here in school that had 100 students. What I did not share with you was that started in very early junior high, where they were very active with marching and concerts and community concerts, and very involved in their community at the junior high level. And that was promoted by a 5th grade music teacher that very strongly encouraged the students to become part of band, to give them a place in their community as they moved forward into junior high and high school. And it was the most valuable thing my son ever had. And it doesn't just show up in high school. It takes a progression, and it's very important to keep those pieces in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, one last call. Anybody else? Okay. We're going to move on to reports and recognitions. And to start it off will be a report from the school board representatives. Eva's Via from Choice.
Good afternoon, community. This week at Choice, we are tackling state testing with our students getting ready for spring break. We have also began speaking to our juniors about graduation requirements they will need to meet for graduation next year. Our seniors have just finished wrapping up the senior presentations and are getting ready for graduation coming up in July. In the past years, Choice we have had our own summer school. This year, from the administration level, I have not heard the 2023 Skokomish Prevention Summit will be coming up and taking place on April 14th. I want to formally invite all of you due to the importance that I believe that substance prevention in youth should have. And so I was just hoping that we would consider summer school for our Choice program, considering all of the students. And yeah, that is my report this week.
Thank you. Moving on to Miranda Myers from Cedar.
Good evening. At Cedar, we had our first ever Cedar Showcase last Tuesday, hosted by staff and Cedar ambassadors, where each teacher showed projects in the room. And thank you for Carla Kudhutson for coming. We also had a great summer at our conferences, and teachers have recently had NTN New Tech Network training. We also had our final planting of winter on the hill, partnered with Mason County Conservation. So far, we have planted 1,000 native plants. We have also continued to partner with the Department of Health with focus groups and listening sessions. Thursday, we are doing our monthly assembly where we will celebrate our honor wear students of second trimester. Also, currently ASB is looking into doing a big artist fair downtown, closing off a couple of streets. The fair would include clubs and local artists, as well as food trucks, music, and activities for kids. The local artists that have been asked if they would be interested are already excited and want to reserve tables. We were hoping this would become an annual thing. Thank you.
Thank you. And Richard Beckman from Shelton High School.
Good evening. At Shelton High School, we are in the process of getting through our ASB elections. So that's an exciting leadership opportunity. In terms of athletics, soccer and track, those are both going well. And we're having a track meet tomorrow at Shelton High School. So if any of you want to come see the events, you're all welcome. We there have been for the state, or not for state rather, but for the dance team, they just had their state send off last week. So congratulations to them. And we also had a national send off today, which, by the way, the band played at, and I think they sounded great. Also, the musical is currently in progress. That is happening, I believe, May 5th and 6th. And that will be an exciting event in the community. We also had our first day of testing today, and we're getting ready for spring break. And to close, I just want to say that I think that the vocal music program is great, and I think it deserves a lot of respect. And I also want to add that I think it would be interesting to look at the correlation between literacy scores and involvement in performing arts programs, because I know that's something that we've taken a lot of interest in. It's a recurring theme throughout meetings that we think it's important for kids of all ages to be literate, starting at the elementary school level and progressing into middle school. And I think that performing arts and music and choir has a profound impact on that. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 5.02, the OSPI Asset Preservation Program Condition Update for Elementary, Evergreen Elementary and Olympic Middle School by Robert Herron.
Good evening, members of the board and Vice President and Superintendent. I come before you to talk with you about my favorite subject that I get to come up every year and talk about, which is the Asset Preservation Program from OSPI. So as part of the condition of funding for Olympic Middle School and Evergreen back in 2003, the state required that we go into an agreement with them and partake in their asset preservation program. As a part of that, every year we have to submit the current condition of those buildings to the state. And so it's a means of accountability for the state to keep track of their investment. And so as part of that, how it works is annually, I submit, I do an evaluation of those two buildings and all the different metrics that were in your board report, things like concrete and walls and electrical systems and HVAC. And then on the 6th year, after every 6th year, a third party comes in and evaluates that. That is the year we are in this year. So normally for the last previous 5 years, I've come forward and brought to you an update based on the condition from my analysis. And this year we've had a third party. We had a structural engineer, his name is David Brown, that has performed work for the district in the past. He came through and did an analysis of those and provided an update to OSPI, providing an update to the condition. Now, seeing how that some of those categories, they're like good and fair and so forth, there can be pretty subjective, right? So I've gone through and done my analysis over the years, and I was happy to see that there was not a big variation having a third party come through. So either I am equally, I did a pretty good job being accurate to, or we are equally both disturbed. I'm not sure. So, but I am happy to report though that after all these years, now we're pushing 20 years for those buildings, that they are in really good shape. And the deviation from last year to this year's report is minimal. In fact, some of the things at Olympic Middle School improved. And so obviously Olympic Middle School did not reverse its aging process in the last year. That just also shows you that their analysis was found was a little less critical than mine when it came to Olympic Middle School. And so there's really not anything, the deviation to report that's noteworthy. There is actually from the previous third-party inspection 6 years ago, there were quite a few deficiencies that were reported then that have been removed. And so that's probably the most noteworthy thing since that time, because there's been some improvements. We've had, of course, at OMS, we've had a new roof installed since the last 6-year private party review. And so also we've had the chiller has been replaced since that time. And so we've had some moderate scale maintenance projects as well. Some of the noteworthy deficiencies that the state still is marking us down for are related to things that the codes that have changed over the years. So they find that our lighting doesn't meet the current standards that they would prefer in a classroom environment, mostly from the standpoint not in how bright the lighting is, but that they don't meet the energy code requirements for things like being able to soften itself based on light sensors and reducing the amount of lighting and other smart energy saving systems. And so at that time when the school was built, some of those things were in effect, but it was actually a desire from the teachers and staff to actually have simple on and off lights that was preferred. And so we just get dinged by the state for that, and we just continue reporting it. And so that's all I have to report. No action is required. It's just that OSPI requires me to bring it to you in a public meeting, that you had an opportunity to review it, and then I report that it's been given to you for review.
Thank you. Stay there. Now, item 5.03, the update on facilities and maintenance by again, Robert Herron.
Oh, I get timed. Great. So here we go. So this evening I come to you and just to give you a brief update of where we're currently at in facilities for this school year and some of our big picture goals and financial needs. And so for this school year, I'm happy to report that we're keeping up with work orders. But we actually are not having an increased number of work orders, despite the fact we have aging facilities. The exception, of course, is HVAC. We are having a higher number of HVAC than the years previous, but this was expected because we have many HVAC systems at the end of their life. So we also successfully completed the portable campus, the additional 2 portables at Cedar High School. And so we're really excited about being able to do that in the middle of the school year. That presented some challenges, and Cedar staff were great to work with as we were able to bring that and get it ready for the second semester. Also, I'm happy to report that out in front here, the columns at Mountain View are going to be refinished this spring break. And so starting next week, they're going to be out here on lifts, and they're going to sand those things down to get them back to their original finish. And then they're going to come up with a superior sealant than the one that was originally put on the building. And so we should be able to get to at least 4 or 5 years without that. And also that was, we got very good bidding pricing for that work. We were really excited about that. The only good pricing we've had was inflation here this year. So also the EBC, our enrollment and boundary committee, continues working, and we're going to be bringing forth our findings this summer. And so we're excited about that. I actually had a meeting with the EBC committee today. Also, as part of that, we have a building utilization study, which reviews how every class space is utilized in the district, and just to find out where we have capacity and to determine what our needs are as we continue to grow, especially in our elementary schools. And we're also continuing this year integrating our new preventative maintenance software. And so we're programming that and getting that ready. And it's a great program, because what it does, instead of working off of old paper files and working it that way, it actually issues a work order automatically to our staff members, the appropriate staff members, when a preventative maintenance item is due. And so it makes it seamless with our work order system. And then here's some pictures. So here's the portable campus here at, what did I do? All right, so here's our portable campus here at Cedar, and then here is our condition of our current condition of our columns. And so this will be returned to its beautiful pre-weathered state. And so we're really excited about that. So coming up this summer, these are some projects that we are developing. So these are things that I have identified the need and we're trying to get done in this funding cycle. But right now we are still going through and determining what kind of budget we will have remaining of funds from emergency issues and things that have happened. But if everything goes as planned, this is what we should be working on. At the sub at Shelton High School, there's the lower section. Last summer, we removed and demoed all the lockers out. And that's being converted into a CTE student lounge space. It's a multi-year project, but this year we hope to do painting and flooring in that space. We're also going to be re-siding the portables at Shelton High School for our special ed program. They're desperately in need of that. And they will have some visual enhancements to their profiles when that work is done. We're going to be working up front of the district office, replacing the front top to finish up the work that we did last year. We also have our two estate art grant projects from our bond work for Shelton High School and here in front of Mountain View that were put on hold because of COVID. Those are going on this year. There's a nice sculpture of a camas flower that will be going in the raised flower bed here in front, and there'll be a mural on the third floor commons of the A building at Shelton High School. There also will be we're working on widening the gates here on the west side of Mountain View by request from Shelton Fire Department to ensure that everything works fantastically in an emergency. They're also going to be, we do our biennial water testing every 2 years. We go through and test every source of water in the district for lead and copper and any other contaminants to make sure that we maintain, safe drinking water for all. And also we are going to be looking to do some repairs to the 800 building at Shelton High School on the high roof. We do have some leaks that are developing. Additionally, we're also looking to do the high fascia boards at the High Climber Stadium. We're going to be looking to fill in the expansion joints, the gaps of the High Climber Stadium. We're going to be working with Adrian and everybody and team to bring in-class libraries 7 through 12. We did K-6 last year. We're going to be doing sidewalk repairs OBJ. We have high windows in the commons at Oakland Bay we're looking to repair. We are going to go back over the pool to do a final touch-up of the plaster. We're also going to be going through Evergreen and touching up some of the grass areas and getting those ready and to bring those into a better condition. We have student bathroom floors at Evergreen that are in desperate need of replacement. And we also have our mini split at the district office for our tech department to make sure our computers are well tempered and ready for service 24 hours a day. And so that system is suffering. Also, if we can fit it into our budget, we'd also like to look at starting some work for at the library. We have a meeting with the superintendent and principal here at the end of the week of things that we can do to enhance and to update the library at Shelton High School. We also have a continuing project to deal with the rafter tails that are on the perimeters of our buildings at Shelton High School, which are rapidly decaying in the weather. And then we also at Choice High School, we have all of our countertops in our classroom. We have a project where we try to pick up a couple of them every year to get those replaced. We also are suffering from toilet partitions that were already at the end of their life, but are also being very well used by our students at the moment, that we're looking to replace some of them if we can fit it in our budget. We're also working with staff about a garden at OMS. And also we'll be meeting with principals tomorrow and Thursday to go through their requests. And so if there are things that we can identify as priorities, needs for them, and that we can get squeezed into our summer projects, we're going to do that. looking ahead, we have some big and important needs. One is the ag portable at between Oakland Bay and the high school that is in desperate need of a complete renovation. We have also the mini dome basketball court needs to be replaced, and that's big bucks. And so the last quote we received, was $650,000, and there's been considerable inflation on that. That's going to be a big ticket one we'll have to work for. We're going to get it refinished again for this year, but we're going to need to do something for the long term. Also, we're looking at complete modernization of the portables at Shelton High School, not just the exterior envelopes. Also, we're looking to do mechanical equipment replacement. We call it the penthouse that's on top of the sub. We have the sub roof needs to be replaced. And we also have a lot of equipment there on the top that is at the end of its life. We also have continuing drainage improvements that are needed at Shelton High School, as anyone's ever been there on a really rainy day. We've made a lot of improvements, but we have more to go. We also have our boiler loops at Bordeaux and Evergreen, that all their couplings that for connections that need to be replaced. We have painting of virtually all the buildings except our new buildings in OBJ, which was just recently painted, is needed. We have roof replacements coming due at ASB 300, next door, Bordeaux, the University House, the ELC, the Performing Arts Center. We also have power needs at Choice at Shelton High School. We need additional service because we can't really add anything at this point. We are beyond its design capacity. And we have end-of-life mechanical replacements district-wide. And the last thing I want to touch on is Oakland Bay Junior High School. We talked a little bit about this last year, but Oakland Bay is at 33 years old. OSPI recommends that 30 years a building is completely modernized or replaced. And so we've done a great job keeping that building put together and running, but it's costing a lot more to run in its current condition. We're spending a lot of money replacing things that are as they fail or age out. But ideally, we really need to get to a point because these costs are adding up every year and compounding to keep up with the need of what's going on. We really need to spend about $500,000 a year. But if we could pull it off in a one large $4 million chunk at some point in the near future, we could get the building in almost a new condition. That building is a really solid building. It was built really well, and it could, with an investment, it could run another 30 years. And so hopefully we can come up with funds in the medium term to be able to capitalize something that nature, but these needs are growing every year, and without additional funding, take a significant chunk of the maintenance budget. So that is my presentation to you this evening, and I stand for any questions.
Members, do you have any questions? Richard?
I just have a comment, and I want to say that I think changing the lower area of the sub is a great idea because it's hard for students to find places during lunchtime to hang out, especially more so now that the library has been closed, or well, closed as you can't bring food in there, so you can't go in there really during the library. And so, yeah, I think it'll be great to have a socialization area for students.
Next. Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to thank you for the comprehensive report. It sounds almost overwhelming, all of those repairs and how they fit into our budget, but it sounds like you've calculated what you can do in the next year. Thank you for a very thorough report today.
But I'm going to follow. Where are we storing the two extra?
We do have two spare portables. They're conveniently located out that door. So if you went locked out about 200 feet, so they're behind OMS. We have them fenced out. They keep the people from getting in there, and we have them protected from the elements, and we're ready to move them into place after we can determine the best location.
Okay. looking forward to, of course, we're in the budget cycle right now. So looking forward to how we're going to work with this going forward is some or all, how will this be divided between general fund and capital projects?
Well, that's a great question. Unfortunately, I don't think we have answers for that at this point, because we're looking at every single one of these on a case-by-case basis, right? We're looking for any extra funding or availability to take them, not have to take them from the general fund and from the maintenance fund because of the needs that are already in the allocations for those. But I think that the general fund would be insufficient to cover all of these costs. There's going to have to be other funding.
Okay. Thank you. And I thought I had one more here. Mountain View widening the gates and the sidewalk. Is there any ADA issues associated with that?
Yeah, the issues that were brought up were not ADA related. They meet the ADA requirements, but we ended up, it went through permitting this way. But what happens is the fire department is concerned that the width of the doors that exit from the west side, that the width of the sidewalk is not maintained at the same width all the way out to the parking lot. And so therefore, you know, if there were all those people, you know, funneling consistently out of the door, they would not all be able to walk on concrete, right? And so they want the concrete widened, and they want the fences, the gates widened as well to support that. So there's not an imminent safety concern because we do run students and drills through there and it functions well. It's more of a technical type of issue, and the city didn't have any objections during permitting. It was just after, sometimes when you see something in person, you're just like, yeah, we probably should have caught that, but we want you to make the change. So.
And just so I'm thinking, orienting myself correctly, that would be doors at the end of this hallway.
That is correct.
Going out. Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I would just like to thank you about the photos at CEDO. We really appreciate them, and it makes it a lot easier for the teachers and the students. Thank you.
I caught you in the hallway, so I'm good.
Thank you.
Okay, 5.04 will be budget status report for January of 2023 by Miss Brenda Trogstrad.
Good evening, Vice President Welander and Shelton School Board and Superintendent Jesse. I'm presenting January 2023 budget status report for all of the district funds this evening. General fund January balance ended at $581,074.21. We are continuing to do some cleanup in our accounts payable. So that should start growing here in the next month or two as our taxes come in and we are getting to a point where we're cleaned up better. Capital project fund, we are staying pretty steady there at $15,338.09. I do have a claim in on this building for the Mountain View State Match. That'll be about $30,000 coming in, but OSPI is reviewing that right now. Debt service fund, again, we are getting tax collections into that, which will pay, excuse me, my allergies are killing me today. On June 1st, we'll do some bond payments again out of there. Right now, we're at $401,723.27. Sorry. Associated Student Body Fund ended January at $492,455.82. This time of year, you see a lot of the competitions and the spring trips coming out of there. Transportation Vehicle Fund, we're just collecting interest on that until we receive the bus that's on order. And so we ended at $444,333.62. And then our private purpose trust fund that has the 3 scholarships, Drake Scholarship, Mike Johnson Memorial, and Bulk Memorial ended at $238,696.31. Are there any questions?
Anyone?
I'll go. Just want to check on non-high payments. Everything is, are all of our
Yep, they're all caught up and to date,
fellow
actually.
districts, okay?
We will be doing May, we'll be sending out the second invoice for the year to the non-high districts, so they'll start making some payments again.
Okay. And I just was noticing here, I'm looking at the general fund and I'm looking at the special ed instruction. And it appears we're over budget already in that one, which is not unexpected because it is special ed. And really, I'm just kind of highlighting that because that is one of the bills that, WASD has been focusing on with the legislature this year, trying to get the state to put some more money into everybody's coffers so that we're not operating the special ed so far over budget. That being said, I'm guessing you probably have looked at where this number might end up by the end of the year. I'm wondering if you have an idea.
The projection is that it's around $1 million above the funding that we receive. We are applying for safety net though, again, which we've been doing the last few years for our high-end costs for the students we send out of a district. So we do get some reimbursement of some dollars from that. So that always helps.
And community services also seems to be, can you refresh my memory what's in community services?
So that one is a strange one throughout the year. What we do, we move from transportation over into that category, and then until year-end close, it doesn't wash itself out. So that's dictated by the accounting manual.
Thank you for that refresher.
So the only question I ever really have is based on where we are and where we're going, are we on track to finish at or under budget by the end of the year?
We have to finish under budget because otherwise I have to do a budget extension for OSPI rules. So we always keep a close eye on that. So, yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'll move on to item 6, a consent agenda. Have all the board members had a chance to review that?
We have, and I would move to approve the consent agenda.
And I'll second that.
All right, with a motion and a second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes. Okay, item number 7, discussion and action items. 7.01, proposed resolution number 22-09, the redirection of federal reimbursement. Ms. Krogstad, thank you.
I should just say. In your board packet, you have a resolution for redirection of federal reimbursement dollars. And what that is, it's ESSER money that we are using to buy the 4 portables that Robert spoke to you about earlier. We have done the claim for it and it will come into our general fund automatically at the end of the month on March 31st. This resolution allows Mason County to move it over to capital projects. So we will be able to pay King County Directors Association for those 4 portables. The actual total cost is $617,778.73. But we did the resolution up to $700,000 just to make sure we were covered. So we will be cutting a check after the money is moved into capital projects, hopefully on March 31st to King County Directors Association for that amount. If not, it will be April 3rd on the following Monday. So I would request that you approve the resolution to move forward to pay for the 4 portables that we are in possession of.
Is there a motion?
I'll move that we accept the resolution number 22-09.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on this one?
I'll just double check here. We're talking 4 portables. That would be the 2 that are already on 4-seater at Olympic College, and then the 2 that are out here.
That's correct.
And are we, do we have an idea what we're going to use these 2 for? Yeah,
It's for future growth at this time. We'll be watching enrollment plus with the boundary committee and transfers and that type of thing. Right now, we don't have a definite place to put them.
thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, and it passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7.02, proposed revision of policy 2190, the highly capable programs for advanced academics by Adrian Minery.
Thank you, Vice President Welander and other esteemed board members. I am here to present proposed updates to the policy to reflect the updated RCWs, which you'll see on the listed on the bottom of the policy. So for criteria for identification and practices.
Is there any questions?
I just have a comment. I originally, when I was on the agenda setting, when we were going to put this on the agenda, and you assured me that it really was short, sweet, and simple. And I was concerned about the public not having a chance to review it and whatnot. And literally, it is just the addition of some RCW numbers and titles. And it doesn't change anything at all within the text. And so I guess there's kind of a deadline. So we'd not normally we would do a first reading and a second reading on policies that have changes, but I can go along with just skipping the first and second reading on this, because there is so little. There is no change in the policy. There are changes in the procedures, but that's not something that we input on anyway. So I'm fine with that.
I have a question. The recommendations for to report at the end of the year for OSPI is that we report how many students, and it also says professional development. Can you tell us what that has been like? What are we offering for those teachers, especially in elementary, who are trying to offer an enrichment within a regular classroom setting?
Sure. Thank you for that question. So it is something that was put on pause during COVID. So we're building back up those that professional development and those opportunities over time. And so we're building that into our summer summit for upcoming this upcoming summer of 2023.
I see. Yeah. How are those teachers identified? Is it volunteer? Which teachers will take a cluster of academically advanced students?
So that would be something that would be decided at the level by the building administrator and their leadership team. So that's also has obviously teacher leadership, teacher leaders on that team to help make those decisions.
That makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Anybody want to throw a motion out there?
I motion to move policy 2190, highly capable programs, advanced academics.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? With that, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. On to item number 8, board member comments. We'll go ahead and start on the far end. If I get Director Gilmore, do you have anything?
I would like to thank everyone, the parents that came out tonight to speak on behalf of the performance art programs, and especially the students who bravely came forward and spoke in front of everybody. It was good to hear from everybody, and I look forward to gaining more information on exactly what is going on, and just basically being more informed on that. So thank you. The only thing that I can comment on is one of the comments about Bordeaux. As a fellow Bordeaux parent, I was able to enter the school last week for student conferences, and they did have volunteer forms to come into the classrooms or go on school field trips. So as far as access to the school, I have experienced that. So if that helps reassure you at all in the building. Thank you.
Okay. I also would like to thank the parents and community members and students who participated tonight to promote our performing arts in Shelton. It's been in my family a very important part of the culture at Shelton High School to be a part of it. So of course, I know the importance. I do think we have to look at a balance, and I hope as a board we have a study session to look at a balance of classes. Are we offering other classes with some creativity? Where are those students going? We need more information. But it's nice to hear passion in everyone's voice that spoke tonight, that this is an important part of Shelton School District. And that's all the comments I have.
Likewise, I'll thank the community members that spoke today, and the students as well. It's always good to hear the students. They're getting to practice some of those skills that they've learned. Thank the staff for the reports. I was absent from the last board meeting, but prior to that, I was able to be a guest reader at the Mountain View, and always enjoy that. That's a lot of fun. I'm glad that is back and something that we can do again. And I'll do a ledge report on what the legislature is doing. The Senate has introduced their budget last week. The House will do theirs this week, and it'll take some time for people that know way more about those things than I won't even try. They'll go over those two budgets and compare them and make recommendations and all that fun stuff. Some of the bills that WASDA has been following that have made it through the last round of cutoffs. That was March 8th. There's another deadline tomorrow. So some of those that we're following are still the two bills about special education. There's one on the Senate side, one on the House side. They both have had many amendments and adjustments. So there'll still be things to come. One scheduled for an executive session on Friday. The Senate budget that has come out is a more expensive budget, more robust, I guess. House budget is expected to be smaller, more conservative. And I mentioned there's a deadline tomorrow. For anybody that was following the universal free meals, that's been pared down to be just K-4. And it is breakfast and lunch. That one is scheduled for meetings later on this week as well. Also includes bonuses for LAP and board certified teachers. Transitional kindergarten is still in the works. And additional funding for schools by selling carbon offsets is still in the works. There was an executive session on that today, so be curious to see where that moves to from here. So that kind of brings up the end of the legislative report, unless anybody had any questions about anything in particular.
I wish everybody had stuck around. I know sometimes people feel like they don't always get heard, but as somebody who played in the jazz band, the concert band, I was Adam Ponape in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Some would say once I got into drama, I never shut up since. I feel very near and dear to these programs, and so this isn't falling on deaf ears. Trust me. It was cool to hear about Illusions getting a #1 state rating. We've had several members of the Illusions go on to like Crimson Company, the Olympic College Jazz Choir, which is a great choir, kind of underrated, but really good. And then on to the PLU music program. I understand we did well at the job fair in Tacoma today. Good to hear. We want to get lots of folks early on before they can get sniped by other folks. So we want the best and the best. And then we still definitely need bus drivers. Again, driving a bus is fun. They do pay for training. It's actually a pretty cool deal. Lastly, we are in state testing. If you're still up listening to this, boys and girls, get to bed soon. Make sure you get a good meal and do well on the tests. So there you go. That's all I got. We do have an exempt session with possible action to follow. So at this time, the board is going to scurry off to our room and take care of that. And we come back on record tonight with no action in our exempt session. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? No. The ayes have it. And we're adjourned at 19:52.